Max Verstappen wins the Canadian Grand Prix.
Clear that at the moment we cannot fight, with those cars.
Listen, guys, Max Verstappen just raced 24 hours straight through the night at the Nurburgring, got a new nickname from his teammates, came back with 0 wins in Formula One this season, and now he's heading into Montreal where it might literally rain chaos on race day. And here's the thing. His exit clause is ticking like a bomb. Today, we're breaking down the Red Bull upgrades, the Mercedes upgrade war, the Nürburgring confession nobody saw coming, and what Canada could mean for Max's entire future. Buckle up. So let's break it down, but before, if you want more updates and news on Max, then hit that like button and subscribe for more breakdowns. The chaos arriving in Montreal. So here's where we are right now. Formula One is rolling into Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix, May 22nd to 24, and this is actually the earliest Canada has ever been on the calendar. They moved it from its usual June slot this year. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is already a savage track on a dry day, heavy braking zones, tight chicanes, the wall of champions just waiting to end someone's weekend. But hold on. The weather forecast for race day Sunday is sitting at a 60% chance of rain, and these are the brand new 2026 cars, which nobody has properly pushed in wet conditions yet. Martin Brundle literally said the drivers are scared of what these cars will do in the rain because they have so much power and so little grip. Only one of the last 8 Canadian Grand Prix went without a safety car. So yeah, Montreal this weekend is basically a casino, and everyone is gambling. Red Bull's upgrade story and Max's Canada dominance. Now let's talk about what Red Bull is bringing to this casino, because this is where it gets interesting. See, earlier this season, the RB22 was a disaster. Overweight, unbalanced, Max couldn't even fight for podiums. But Red Bull secretly tested a major upgrade at Silverstone on a filming day, then brought a completely revised car to Miami. New front wing, new side pods, new floor, new engine cover, even a new rotating rear wing they call the Macarena wing. And it worked. Max qualified on the front row in Miami, which was Red Bull's best result of the entire 2026 season. Now they're bringing even more minor updates to Canada on top of that Miami package. And Max himself said he's been raring to get back in the car ever since Miami. Here's why Canada specifically matters for him though. This is Max's hunting ground. He won here in 2022, 2023, and 2024. 3 consecutive victories. He and Lewis Hamilton share the record for most consecutive wins at this circuit. Last year, George Russell finally broke that streak, beating Max by just 0.228 seconds behind a safety car. So Max knows this track like the back of his hand, and with an improving car plus possible rain throwing the whole race into chaos, a podium or even a shock win is absolutely not off the table. Mercedes starts an upgrade war. But here's the thing. Max isn't the only one bringing weapons to Montreal. Mercedes is scared. They lead the Constructors' Championship by 70 points. Kimi Antonelli has won 3 races in a row and made history doing it. But Toto Wolff watched McLaren close the gap massively in Miami, and he went straight back to the factory with a new sense of urgency. Mercedes didn't even bring a proper upgrade to Miami. They let McLaren and Red Bull bring major packages while they sat on their hands. Now in Canada, they're finally unleashing their first real upgrade of the 2026 season. A new front wing, updated floor, weight reduction, and new software for race starts. Paddock sources say it could be worth 0.3 of a second per lap, which in 2026 is massive. And McLaren, they held back 40% of their Miami upgrade package specifically to save it for Montreal. So this weekend you have Mercedes, McLaren, and Red Bull all firing upgrades at each other at the same time on the most unpredictable track on the calendar, with rain possibly turning everything sideways on Sunday. This is not a normal race weekend. The exit clause ticking bomb. Now, while all of this is happening on track, there is a story running underneath everything that changes how you watch Max this weekend. His contract with Red Bull runs until 2028 on paper, but buried inside that contract is an exit clause. and it's brutal. If Max is not inside the top 2 in the championship by the time the summer break hits, he is contractually free to walk away from Red Bull with zero compensation. Right now, he sits 7th in the championship with 26 points and 0 podiums. David Coulthard came out this week and said Verstappen will not be going anywhere, that he'll stay at Red Bull for the rest of his career because no other team would give Max the freedom to be Max. The freedom to go race at the Nurburgring for 24 hours, for example. And Toto Wolff shut the Mercedes door firmly, saying he couldn't be happier with Antonelli and Russell, and there's absolutely no reason to consider any changes. But here's what nobody is saying out loud. The clause is still active. The summer break is coming fast, and Max is still 7th. Every single race from here matters. The Nurburgring confession. And speaking of the Nurburgring, let me show you something that came out this week that nobody really talked about properly. Max was originally supposed to start the 24-hour race himself. He had started every single practice run beforehand, so it made complete sense. But the night before the race, after qualifying, Max pulled his teammate Danny Juncadella aside and told him privately, "You better start because I know myself. First lap, 4th place, I'm going to want to fight with everyone." He stepped back from his own race start because he knew his F1 wheel-to-wheel instincts would be too dangerous for a 24-hour endurance event in the opening chaos. That is a level of self-awareness that most racing drivers simply don't have. And then what happened? Juncadella started and immediately made contact with the Lamborghini on the first corner, proving Max's instinct was completely right. They ran for 20 hours in the lead before a drive shaft failure ended it with just 3 hours to go. Heartbreaking, but that behind-the-scenes moment tells you everything about the real Max Verstappen. The Maxipedia moment, and his teammates didn't leave the Nürburgring without giving Max something he'll carry forever. Because of how deeply Max knows motorsport, every category, every race, every piece of history, his co-drivers Gilles and Danny Juncadella started calling him Maxipedia during the race weekend. Gounon said whenever they talked about different racing categories or history, Max just knew everything, and the nickname stuck naturally. It's a small story, but it matters, because it shows you a side of Max that the F1 bubble never really shows. A genuine racing fanatic who is doing this because he loves it, not just because it's his job. What happens next? So here's where we are. Max comes into Canada with 0 wins, a slowly improving car, a ticking exit clause, and rain possibly flipping the whole race on its head. Mercedes is going to war with upgrades, McLaren hasn't even shown everything yet, and Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is the one place where Max has historically been untouchable. Canada could be the turning point that silences every exit rumor and resets this season completely. Or it could be the race that pushes the exit clause conversation into overdrive heading into summer. My honest opinion? If it rains on Sunday and chaos breaks out, Max Verstappen is the most dangerous driver on that grid. But here's the question I want to leave with you. If Red Bull's upgrades don't deliver a podium in Canada, does Max push that exit clause button before summer? Let me know what you think below and stay with me because whatever happens this weekend, I'll be breaking it all down for you right here.